After the 24th of September, everything has changed and much remains a constant at the same time. On one hand, Kosovo's commitment to protecting our sovereignty, promoting and advancing rule of law and democracy, as well as fostering positive neighborly relations, remains unwavering. On the other hand, Serbia's determination to destabilize the region, to occupy land, and to replicate Milosevic's and Putin's playbooks is at its peak. What Serbia expected to happen that day was to succeed in its Crimea-style planned annexation of the north of Kosovo. What Serbia was caught in by surprise is the unwavering determination and professional response of the Kosovo police forces. Yet, what we have heard from Serbia today is an extension of their recurring efforts to tone down the scale of this unprecedented security threat and act of aggression against Kosovo. They want to also twist the entire truth which unfolded in front of the eyes of the world. They try to switch the place of the aggressor with that of the victim of the aggression. But the facts are irrefutable and evidence shows to the contrary. These terrorist groups and paramilitary forces have been financed, trained, armed, and received political support and shelter from one source, the Republic of Serbia. As the investigation shows, there's been constant military-type training of these terrorist groups in the military bases of Serbia, including in Pasulanske Livade and in Raška. There's video evidence of it, and Serbia state institutions, especially defense institutions, even proudly admit training these terrorist organizations. Moving on to the third element, the arming. The weapons that we have confiscated from the terrorists only that day amount to weapons that can be used by as much as 400 people. Most of them are military-grade weapons that are only produced in the military state industry of Serbia. This is not some quarreling between two countries or a blame game. What happened on September 24th was not just an attack on Kosovo. It was a plan to destabilize the entire Western Balkans. This was an attack against democracy and freedom, as well as peace and stability, which you have helped build. Thus, we must be in this together. While Vučić aims to cover his true intentions, his acts reveal his underlying motives. He wants more territory. It is that simple. Whether in the south or the north, east or the west, the police's unwavering mission is one and only: instilling trust, safety, and security in neighborhoods and communities across the entire country. Serbia only pulled some of its troops from the border after the US warnings that it could face punitive measures. But significant military forces continue to be permanently based in the area, with Serbia's 48 forward operating bases around the border with Kosovo. Yet, as I speak of enhanced and advanced rights for Kosovo Serbs and every minority community in Kosovo, ethnic cleansing through administrative means, as qualified by the Helsinki Committee for Human Rights, is ongoing in Serbia, more precisely in the Preševa Valley. Through the passivization of residence addresses, the Serbian government is tracelessly, that is even without issuing any written notice or document, wiping out Albanians from the civil registry of Serbia and, as a result, denying them of all of their basic rights. These violations of rights, also confirmed by the US State Department reports, as well as some of the latest resolutions of the European Parliament, are further exacerbated by the hate speech and discriminatory language which is routinely used by media and politicians in Serbia. I confirm that we are willing to do even more for the Serbs in Kosovo. But we will not give Serbia instruments through which they can destroy the lives of Serbs who live in Kosovo and try to continuously diminish our sovereignty and territorial integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, Kosovo, once a symbol of suffering because of the genocidal war waged by Milosevic, has emerged today as a shining example of democracy in the Western Balkans and beyond. Our plea is clear and unyielding. Kosovo needs substantial security guarantees within the Euro-Atlantic security framework. As we move forward, we should focus on halting Serbia's support for terrorist activities against Kosovo. urging them to cooperate in the investigation of the recent terrorist attack and hand over to us the terrorists involved. Moreover, they increase the security around Kosovo's border with Serbia and adopt clear measures against Serbia's leadership as a deterrence. We must not let propaganda win. We must fight for the truth. There is only one truth that can be evidenced, and that is that Kosovo has been a victim of an act of aggression by Serbia. That Serbia is terrorizing Serbs who live in Kosovo for the sake of stopping their integration within Kosovo institutions and society. That Serbia wants Kosovo territory, which they will never get. That Kosovo is the constructive party in the dialogue with a track record of implementing the vast majority of its undertakings. And that Serbia's list of non-implementation is so long that it would take us many, many hours to just go through it. That we want a full and swift implementation of the entirety of the Brussels Agreement of February 27th in a fair and balanced way. That while we were committed to peaceful talks with Serbia, they resorted to use of force. That we want justice and accountability, and Serbia wants denial and impunity. That we want peace, and Serbia has shown on the 24th of September that they, unfortunately, want war. But we will not let them have it. As we all know, democracy and freedom always prevail, because there's nothing that can stand in the way of a freedom-loving nation. Because no matter how hard the hurdles, no matter how thorny the road, no matter how painful the sacrifice, the people of Kosovo will never, ever give up on their freedom. Russia once again used propaganda against the people of Kosovo and against those who fought for the freedom of Kosovo, the Kosovo Liberation Army. The biggest difference between Kosovo and Serbia is that we are not afraid of justice, which is why we have ourselves created the specialist chambers, because we will not allow for a moral equivalence to be created between those who committed genocide and those that defended our people from genocide. As was the case in the past, we are fully confident that justice will once again prevail. You heard Russia and Ms. Brnabic today speaking about the so-called Kurti terror. Kurti is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kosovo, but he was also a war prisoner, almost tortured to death in their prisons, while the President of Serbia during those same years was the Minister of Propaganda for Milosevic. And as if that was not enough, they publicly state, even nowadays, including last night by the President of Serbia, that they wish that they had never released Kurti from prisons alive. Yet again, the Prime Minister of Kosovo has chosen the dialogue. In that table led by EU negotiators, on one side you have the Prime Minister of Kosovo, a war prisoner, almost tortured to death. And on the other side, you have the Minister of Propaganda of the regime that tortured him. But we will never give up on dialogue as the only means for resolving any difference between us, because Kosovo is a country full of Mandelas, Gandhis, and Martin Luther Kings, of people who strive for the future, for peace and reconciliation.